Hey boys, how we doing today? Happy Easter to all of
Boys,
you guys.
happy Easter, we're back.
Easter.
How was your weekend at MG? I know you had a busy one and to launch your clothing brand. How did all that go on Saturday?
It was awesome, man. It was a lot of fun just to sort of see the phone flick every time an order came in. You know, you like a little kid. Just I reckon my screen time that day was like 10 hours extra, man. I couldn't get every time a bing went off. It was just like, oh, another order. Yeah, but it was awesome, man. So much support, um, and yeah, I just couldn't be more thankful. And there's some exciting things coming as well. Appreciate everyone who listened to order because there's definitely a few listeners I know who ordered. So thank you so much.
That's awesome.
And anyone who hasn't ordered, we've just made it free shipping as well. And anyone that did order under 150 that paid shipping, we did put a credit on there for you. So anyone new who hasn't ordered, jump on now, free shipping.
That's awesome.
But it was a great day, man.
That's so good. And you'd be busy, bro, because you got A and B coming up in 2 weeks too. Hey,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, man, what is it, next Sunday? So
yeah,
like 10 days away. So lots
yeah,
happening that in terms of just getting everything organized. And, we had a couple of issues with the website, which is a bit frustrating, which is all rectified now, but it was all kind of happening at the one time. But, man, there's some people coming out of the woodworks who I just had no idea who they were. I've never reached out to me before. I don't know who their coach is, who have come up and asked questions about the day, who are competing. So
wow.
it's going to be super exciting, man. There's some names I've never seen before that I've been messaging through socials, which is great. And obviously some familiar names too. So can't wait to see who's going to show up on the day. And, it's always not until, a couple of days before. I think we close out registrations for the show on Thursday. So anyone competing A and B Thursday night is when we close our registrations. You don't know the full list until that point, but at this stage, there's definitely some new faces around, which is always exciting.
And
And
that'll be
just
next Thursday, the 20th, right?
correct.
Yeah, th Thursday before the show. Yes, sweet.
Yeah. So hopefully you've all registered by now. And if you haven't, hopefully this is your reminder to jump on and register. And then obviously with the ICN show this weekend,
Mm,
hopefully there's some some competitors who do it, who, have a great time. Maybe it's their first show, maybe it's not, and they have a great experience and want to go again, or maybe they don't have a great experience and they want to try something else. So hopefully the timing of the show for us is opportunistic and we can get some new faces and give them a new experience.
that's awesome. I can't wait because obviously I did your show last year, season B.
Yeah, I seen a cool
So
photo I
I'm
posted of you
looking,
this week, right?
yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. Yeah, I saw that photo that
Was
you
that was
guys
that
posted.
was
That's
that was that,
awesome.
actually Jen posted that, but was that a great photo or what? Just that
Yeah,
back
that
rear
back
double,
pose.
that hamstring lit
Yeah,
up like a Christmas tree. It
yeah.
was fantastic. There's probably
That
more
was
of those too, man,
awesome.
that you haven't even seen.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. Like I love that. That stage is a really, really good stage. You get a lot of stage time, get some good photos, which is awesome. So, and it's a good show to watch too because you have the audience there. They can sit back and you get that individual time, so they get to watch you and especially if it's your first show or maybe a show that no one's ever come to before and they're going to watch you for the first time. It's awesome because they get to see a bit of you and they get to take some really good photos too. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And this year, being that it's, my second time around, you learn things from the first one. So just like the team of helpers will be bigger, a lot of familiar faces of people who are out there who know members of my team will be there to help. And you'll probably recognize the people presenting medals. You'll recognize the people at the door.
Mhm.
So it's just going to be a fun day. And look, worst case scenario, you can make half your money back in free Monster, right?
Yeah, all the
So
freebies.
they're awesome sponsors. They're very, very generous. And we also have the meal prep company there, Papa Macros, who will have a microwave so you can buy meals there, which is awesome. No chips and drinks and shit. Proper
Yeah, it's awesome.
bodybuilding meals with a microwave will be there as well. So excited, man. You'll see me there. If anyone's there, come say hi. I'm probably going to be high stress and like have a panicked look on my face, but that's just standard every year.
You're not coaching anyone on that day, right?
No,
Yeah, good. Good
no.
on
And
you.
I'll tell you why, man. It's not to say I won't again, but as a coach, even if I had the best athlete there, I would just hate for someone to say something about my athlete like they weren't worthy of the win because, we know sometimes people out there have an opinion like there's politics in the sport. So as a promoter, I'm just going to take all of that away and none of my guys are actually doing that show. And we could easily sit here on the show the next week and break every class down like we would.
Hmm.
But this time around, I'm not having anyone compete that I coach purely for that reason.
Yeah. But like, if I was you, I wouldn't not put someone in the show for that reason
Yeah.
because I know that you have no, zero control over
Zero.
something. It's totally fucking
Nothing.
separate. If
Nothing
you
to
had
do with
any
them.
control, why didn't I win
Man,
last
I literally have zero control. You know what, man? It's not for me. It's I don't want my athlete to have to feel that way, to have to feel
year? Yeah, I get
like,
it. It's unfortunate
yeah,
though. It's
it is,
unfortunate.
man. It is. But equally, when I took on responsibility of being promoter, I kind of had that in my thought process too.
Hmm.
And I had athletes compete last season. I don't have athletes compete this season. I'm
Hmm.
gonna see. I'm gonna see how it feels. But also, that's not the sole reason, right?
Yeah.
You saw last year I had three athletes compete, and I was kind of running back and forth. I'm backstage pumping them up, and I can hear my name being called on the microphone to come up on stage. So that was a hard balancing act. So that's probably the main reason, is just to be able to be present and be promoter rather than trying to wear the two hats. And we'll see if I find that this is a really great show and I like the balance of not having anyone compete, then that's probably going to be my strategy moving forward.
Yeah.
Or you could also just put your athletes in and just get someone else to handle them, like
Yeah,
someone from your own team or MT or me or whoever.
yeah, I've got obviously a great team of coaches. I've got Cole, Bree, Amy as well, and Meve's got someone competing, and so does Cole actually. So, two of the people that work alongside me have athletes competing, but I don't directly coach anyone who's competing on the day. So,
Yeah, awesome. So I think season A's in full swing. We've got a big weekend this weekend. Like I know we've got the Melbourne ones which we'll be at, but I'm just pulling up the list. So for any of the listeners that don't know, if you go into our Instagram page, into the link in our bio, it goes to a screen where there's a couple of options. You can listen to the Spotify there, but there's also a link to the show list for the full year, all the shows for the full year. It's in a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to rattle off what's happening just this weekend, right? So on Saturday, we have ICN New South Wales. We've also got Queensland IFBB. Then on Sunday, we've got the ICN Melbournes. We've also got the ICN in Queensland, the Sunshine Coast Classic. We've got New South Wales NBA. And then we also have Western Sydney A&B New South Wales. That's this weekend. That's crazy, right? Next weekend is actually even bigger. So next weekend we had IFBB South Australia. We've got WBFF in the Gold Coast. We've got where is it here? We've got ICN in South Australia. We've got ICN in Queensland. We've got NBA in Hobart. We've got A&B Victoria, which is your show. And then we've got IFBB New South Wales on the Sunday. So it's a lot of shows. And I can keep going. There's shows every weekend across states and across a lot of federations. So it's going to be a big one. Obviously, we're going to be at the ICN Melbourne show, which is on the Sunday. So again, just like last time, if there's any listeners out there that want us to specifically take a look at you on stage and want some feedback from us, please message us either privately or message the page, the Instagram page for the podcast, and we'll definitely have a look. But same as what we did last time with the rookies, the next podcast post the show, we'll go through, we'll review the lineups, and we'll give our feedback. We're just going to review the open classes, and it actually looks like a pretty big show. So, Scotty, you sent me the list this morning, and there's a lot of class 1, class 2 across a lot of the divisions. So it's definitely going to be a big day. Mm-hmm. And we all know what everyone's probably doing right now is all those competitors just got that list and they're probably doing a manic stalk of everyone that they're going up against, which always tends to happen. I just tell people it's out of your control now. And also too is I can see, because I know I have a sort of lineup, I can see who's in the lineups. People that I know, I didn't go and check the names I didn't know, but even I can see is it's going to be difficult to judge. There's some that I'm like, that person has this over that person. What are they going to go for? Are they going to go for shape and size? Are they going to go for conditioning? Are they going to go for... So not even I know how the judges are going to go with some of these decisions, because from what I can see based on social media, which is never a good trait to look at or thing to look at, but I can't see anyone that at the moment has the complete overall best size, shape, proportion, conditioning. Well, we won't know until the day. But everyone's got a bit of everything, so it's just going to be really, really interesting what the judges go for. But I know, Scotty, you got some peeps in that show. So have you had a little bit of a look at the list and what have you got? What do you got people in?
I've got 3 boys competing, so all 3 are doing physique, although only really two of them are doing the open class that will be contending in physique, and then two boys that are doing fitness as well. So three of the guys that are competing, and two of them, unfortunately, are going to be in the same lineup in men's fitness, and two of them are going to be in the same lineup in men's physique and open as well. So,
Yeah.
but other than my guys, to be totally honest, I haven't really paid attention to anyone else.
Yeah.
I just don't really think there's any point. I personally don't do it when I compete because there's literally nothing that you can gain from it other than potentially accruing additional stress, which you just don't need. Because at the end of the day, no one ever puts up a bad photo on Instagram. Everyone filters, majority of the people filter the shit out of their photos. So there's no point. I think it's better just put yourself on private or delete Instagram. Just go dark. It literally makes no difference. All that you can do is focus on being at your best. And again, I always just think, and I literally said this to both of my boys this morning that had their check-ins, stay off Instagram. You literally have no control over anyone else, but the way that you approach these next 5 days will ultimately determine the way that your physique looks. So if it's not going to add any benefit, then why would you even engage in it?
Yeah.
I know it can be easier said than done, but oh my God, I'm competing against Michael Trimboli and Michael Galante. Like, hoping that one of them falls over and, gets injured, it's probably not really going to happen. So you might as well just stay in your own lane and then just worry about yourself.
Yeah. What do you think, MG?
I mean, 100%. I didn't look either, and I definitely advise people in my team to stay off as well. And at the end of the day, not everyone does, and I know that. You can't control social media. Like, you put some sort of parenting block, like a coaching block. Like, you are not allowed on IG this week. But exactly as I was mentioning before, I got a message from someone who's competing at my show next week who I've never seen, doesn't have a big bodybuilding profile, just has like literally one picture. And the guy looks like an absolute freak. Never seen him before in my life. So there's no point. There's no point guessing. And equally, it's a photo on social media, and Scotty nailed it. Like, certainly I haven't posted any bad photos recently. And I don't know anyone else that's doing that on purpose. There are some people out there who do post some raw photos. But, most of the time, the stuff that you're going to see is filtered. My advice is stay off. It is just going to cause you stress. And Scott nailed it. There's nothing to gain, nothing at all. Like, what are you going to do? What's the best case scenario? You see someone who you see a photo of that you think looks worse than you, but what have you gained? Yeah, you think you're going to show up and beat one person? It's just not worth it. You can't play that game with every single person that's in that list. It's just not a game that you want to get into. And once you start going down the rabbit hole, it's a hard place to come back from.
Yeah. And also, you can't judge, right? Like, how do you even know what the judges are going to be looking for? You're not even standing next to that person. How do you even know?
100%.
Yeah.
It's like when I competed last time, and I would be known a little bit in the industry from being a coach, but like I got there and one of the guys like, "Whoa, you're a lot taller in person." It's like, well, you obviously have looked up. So it's just like you don't know what a 6'3" guy is and a 5'11" guy based on his photo because he posted it on Instagram. So just don't waste your time.
Yeah. So what are people going through right now? They're in peak week. What are we? Tuesday? We're recording this on a Tuesday. What are you guys going through at the moment, Scotty, from like a plan perspective? Are they carbon up yet? What are they doing?
None of them are carbing up yet. One of them, because we're really having to dig him conditioning wise, he'll push all the way up until Friday. So his carb up won't start till Friday, and we'll be more aggressive on Friday. One of the other boys that's been ready for a couple of weeks, we start filling him up. He's been pretty much at maintenance for a little while now. And he starts filling up on Thursday, and one of the other boys both boys start filling up on Thursday, and then one of them will start carbing up on Friday. But essentially just digging that last little bit for Andrew, who is competing in men's fitness and physique, and Cal and Brad will fill up on Thursday. But as of everything pretty much stays the same until Thursday, and then it's all about giving back to the system, trying to wash off some of that fatigue. Steps come way down, training intensity comes down, and it's more about just trying to, like I said, wash off some of that fatigue, especially when you've been dieting, sucked down for a bit. You do tend to see a fair bit of edema, and so your physique, and that's sort of been my theme the last few days, your physique's probably going to look worse before it looks better, in the sense that it's only once we start to push in some carbohydrate and take out some of that fatigue that you see it come back to life, and all of a sudden Because when you suck down that low, you're watery, you look flat, you've got no muscle glycogen. It's very easy to just think, well, I haven't nailed this, but then you push in some carbohydrate for a few days and then you put your feet up and you relax and it's like, where the hell did this come from? So it's just having a plan, trusting the process and just watching it come to fruition.
And mentally, that's tough because if you're looking kind of worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think, well, shouldn't I do more? Like, shouldn't I dig harder, do more cardio, dig more? And your coach is saying, no. We're actually going to do the opposite. We're going to do all the opposite stuff.
Yeah, you've got to get super flat to get super lean.
Yeah.
Just part and parcel of it. And you can't fill up if you're not lean.
Is that our third t-shirt?
Yep. Got to get super flat to get super lean, and you've got to be super lean to be able to fill out.
There you go. There's the third t-shirt.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But no, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, especially because one of my guys in particular, just from where he's come from in the last 2 years, like you guys would know Cal, his before photo to where he is now. It's just like, and it just goes to show that you may not have the best genetics, but if you work hard and you literally, sometimes you just need to be a soldier. You put your faith in someone and you trust the process.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because there's over 20 kilos difference between photo A and photo B. And he looks about 15 kilos bigger in photo B.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you posted that?
Yeah, you can't always put all your eggs in one basket pertaining to scale weight.
Have you posted that photo?
Nah, I don't think I have. No, not on a post.
Okay, keen to have a look at it.
Yeah, I'll send it through to you. Maybe after the weekend we'll post it up.
Yeah. MG, who have you got for Vix?
So yeah, I've got Efe, who's got a lot of muscle tissue, but we started the prep reasonably late. So similar to Scotty, we're pushing it right through to Friday. Like we're doing cardio, we're going to pull things back on Friday and try and do nothing Friday onwards, but we're going to go pretty hard up until that point, man, just because we ran it short. We decided to do it sort of last minute, and then we got another showing in 3 weeks after that. So we're going to give it our all this week and then have a big backload and see where we land. We're actually going to do 2 divisions because we were going to do physique, but the legs have started to come in a little bit, and we are going to do classic because some of the poses in classic actually look a lot better. Okay. So we're going to give that a go as well. So the upper body's definitely there for classic, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And the legs have come in enough that there's enough lines there to look the part. So we're going to give both, and we just prefer, the athlete actually prefers the classic posing. So
okay, cool.
I'm going to do it for that reason. But the one athlete I would love to mention to people, which is something that always gets me a little bit excited, but Cole's got Tom. So Tom's doing the physically challenged division. Tom's an absolute trooper. So Tom's got cerebral palsy. He's competed before. Some of you have seen him. And when Tom, was young, they told him that he wouldn't walk. And when he started with us, probably 2.5 years ago, he had no use of his left side. So, I remember his first ever session with us, and he couldn't do a 2 kilo dumbbell press because of his left arm, his left side. Mm-hmm. And, 2 years later, he competes, he deadlifts, he does every exercise you could imagine now. And he's going to be on stage in the physically challenged. So, this is a guy who keeps defying the odds. And, he's not going to be the biggest guy on the day, but, man, he's been dieting his ass off. He's not missed I don't think he's missed a training session in 2.5 years because he does all of his sessions he does all of his sessions with Cole. He does 4 a week with Cole. And I don't think he's ever missed a beat. And what's funny, man? You talk about someone who, I've never met a more positive guy in my life. And I think I told Trimboli this story, but he's just been so positive the last 6 months, and it's like the world's paying him back. So he got a job as the lollipop man. So he does the street crossing in Fairfield, which is near where he lives, which he was super pumped about, right? We were so happy for him. Then he started, leveling up. He decided he was going to do his prep again. And then he got given his dream job, which he got a job, I told you, MT. He got hired by the North Melbourne Football Club. So he works there during the day, does helps out with obviously setting things up, water, all that type of stuff. And he's just come so far. He's so positive. The other day he was giving me motivational chats. He sat me down and he's like, Michael, I just want to know, what you guys are doing is awesome. And we're all in this together. And I was just like, fuck, this guy's fucking pumping me up. So it just shows you, man, sometimes, the opportunities that you are given, it's what you do with them. And, this is one of the happiest guys I've met. So anyone who's there on Sunday, if you've got an opportunity, I think he's on just after fitness, about 1 o'clock-ish, 1:30, men's physically challenged. stick around and give him a cheer, because for him to have gotten to where he is today, although when you look at him on stage, he's not going to, look like the size of a bodybuilder. He's worked his fucking ass off, and he just deserves a really nice moment.
Yeah, it's awesome. I remember when he competed last time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing. I love watching him on stage. It was so good.
Yeah, and man, does he tear it up on stage? Like,
Yeah, he loves it.
is he the most confident guy on stage you've ever seen?
That's what competing's all about, hey?
100%, man. And honestly, I'd take my hat off to Tony at ICN, because last time he gave him a really, really nice moment, man, where put Cole up on stage while they ran through every pose and the crowd went absolutely bonkers. And he gave him more time on stage than any other division that day. And he was just one in that division on that day. So one thing Tony does really well is makes the physically challenged category special. So keep an eye out for Tommy. Tommy Clarkson is his name.
What t-shirt did he have last time? They got t-shirts made, right?
Yeah, we got t-shirts made, which was like his face with the Arnold. I've actually got it here, man. I'll hold it up, but it's right here. I'm not joking. Have a look. It's by chance. It's right here. So we got these t-shirts made, which is the Tominator, right? So it's him as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So it's his face on the Arnold Schwarzenegger poster.
Yeah, with the leather jacket holding the gun, with the black glasses, with like all of our names at the bottom. So all of his coaches at the bottom.
It's called the Tominator.
The Tominator. So
I love it.
So if you see him backstage, go up and give him support. But it just shows you cerebral palsy. He made zero excuses, man, and he works harder than anyone. And for a guy that was told he wouldn't be able to walk, he hasn't missed a beat, man. So
yeah, it's definitely someone to look up to, for sure.
So, and that's like the type of person that in reality, like, I would have that as someone who I'd be proud to represent my whole brand. A no die attitude. Willing to do whatever's necessary to achieve a goal. And I reckon there's going to be a few tears in the room, man, on Sunday, because certainly everyone who knows him is pretty excited for him. So
yeah, good on you, Tommy. That's awesome. Is he just doing the one show?
Yeah, just the one show. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's so good.
So
all right, boys. How about we get stuck into some questions? We didn't put a question box out there because you got so many from the other week. So just going to randomly scroll through this whole big list that I've got, and we'll just go. Maybe we'll talk about comp, since that we're there. So, let me just cover this one off. Okay, so do you remove creatine and no sugar free drinks in peak week? So creatine and kind of those sugar-free drinks in peak week. Do you guys remove them? Do you get people to take them out?
I don't change creatine at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the no sugars just depends on what they're having. But like typically, I might, if the show's on Sunday, I might say, hey, we certainly won't have anything the morning of the show, and probably the day before as well, man. Just to avoid any potential GI distress. But man, I don't take them out the whole week. Like if they've been having them for 27 weeks, I don't see why one Coke Zero on a Friday is going to ruin their physique on a Sunday. But again, it's all situational. It depends on the volume they're having too, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Scotty? Same?
Yeah, no, I'll leave creatine in all the way through. And then with energy drinks and Diet Cokes and things like that, I normally pull them the day that we'll start pushing in more carbohydrate, just so that it doesn't add to any gastrointestinal perturbations. But it's also the day before, you just don't want to have anything that could cause any bloating or distension. So I think 48 hours out. And the other one is just with your pre-workouts, you want to be careful. Even if you are taking something that you think has got no banned stims, if it hasn't got a HASTA certified symbol on it, then it hasn't been batch tested. You can't guarantee that you know what you're having. So it's just safer not to have it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, mate. Exactly what you said. This is what I do with everyone else too. Yeah. There's one here. The weirdest peak week strategy. And they said, I'll send you mine through, which is the one I kind of told you guys about the other week.
You know what? We should have filmed Scott's live reaction when you thought he was joking at first. I think
I legit thought he was joking.
No. So this is obviously coming off the back of the other podcast when we were talking about that peak week strategy. That was that we weren't a fan of. And so then someone sent me through their one they had with their coach, and the biggest thing was the night before the show.
The coach thought that they were a salad roll.
Yeah, rubbing hemorrhoid cream all over their body and then wrapping everything in Glad Wrap. So wrapping your arms, wrapping your legs, wrapping your torso. Once you put hemorrhoid cream all over your body.
Should have used aluminium foil. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other ones? You got any other ones? We've seen some pretty good ones. Nope.
So hemorrhoid cream all over the body, like basically like midsection, arms, legs.
Arms, legs, torso, and then wrap those limbs in your torso in Glad wrap and go to bed.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm.
Someone asked about the comp tanning process and what's the best process. So everyone really does it differently, to be honest. I've seen some where it's the day before the show and then the day of the show there's a spray tan. I've seen some people do 2 days before the show and on show day. I've seen them do a day's leading up to the show and then no tan on the show day. It really depends, but depends who you go with. They have their method, they have their products, they have their reasoning. Normally they'll send you an email, they'll explain what you need to do, all the exfoliation, the moisturizing you need to do, and obviously getting rid of body hair and things like that and things to avoid. I think one of our biggest tips we had, MG, was putting clear nail polish
Oh man, if I tell you the
on
story
your
about my toes,
on your toes, like clear, like for guys, like for girls,
fingertips and toes, yeah.
yeah, they might get their things painted colors, but for guys, actually putting the clear nail polish on your fingers and on your toes, so the tan doesn't get on it, so you can wipe the tan off really, really easy.
Man,
Otherwise,
months. It was months.
months.
I went to Bali. I competed in April. Maybe I went to Bali in July, and you know we went to get a pedicure, and they're like, "Oh, you've got mushrooms." I'm like, "No, that's a 3-month-old comp tan. I promise I can't." And they're like calling everyone else from the salon, like, "Ah, look, mushrooms!" Like, fucking, I'm sitting there so fucking embarrassed. I'm like, "I swear it's comp tan. I promise you, it's spray tan, spray tan."
Yeah.
But yes, definitely put no. But equally, I also have used someone recently who did both coats on the day. So
Okay.
like at the show, and it fucking came up Mickey Mouse too. So I don't know that there's like a best way. I just think it's product related and obviously tanner related. But personally, what do I like? I like the one where you get to have a shower after the base coat sinks in after 6 hours. That for me is just the way I feel better and the way that I like. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best.
It sets better that way as well, because if you go on the same day, it's too risky. If you've got someone that's naturally a sweater, or if it's super hot under there and they start sweating, it can really fuck your tan. Versus if you do it over like say if someone's competing on Sunday, you get tanned your first coat on Friday, you have your 30-second rinse on Saturday, you get your second coat Saturday night, and then you just get a touch up on Sunday and you don't have a shower. Yeah, in my opinion, you can't beat that.
Well, actually, MG, so Bronze On that does your tanning at A&B, dedicated tanner, that's what they do. You get sprayed the day before, you sit in it for about 4 to 6 hours, then you have a shower.
Yeah, about 6 hours, wash it off. You got a nice little base coat, and then they obviously will do one when you get there, and then a touch up if needed as well. But yeah, I like that. I like the way that feels as an athlete too.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why some federations you can have all these approved tanners, and there's all different tanners that can do it. But I like the fact that some federations just have one dedicated tanner, in the sense that everyone's color is going to be the same, right? I understand from a business aspect, you want to have multiple tanners. Everyone should get a slice of the pie. But I also like the fact that I think A&B do it and NBA do it, and I think IFBB also do it. There's a dedicated tanner for the day, and you have to use their approved tanner.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep this consistent. Like, judging can already become difficult enough, but when you got like multiple shades, multiple colors, I think it just helps with consistency, and it's great for photography too.
Yeah, 100%, totally. Someone asked about advice for someone who's doing shows that are 4 weeks apart. So I know we've spoken about in the past if it's like a week apart, even a day apart. So it's like you do one on a Saturday, you do one on a Sunday. But what if it is like a big gap, a big stretch? Do you have anyone in your team doing that, Scotty? The big gap this season?
No, I don't. The longest is just from the A&B show, MG's one, to the Nationals, which is 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks. No. But I have in the past. I think if you have your athlete, if they're ready, like they're 100%, it's a lot easier because you just basically bring them back up to baseline and sit them there for 2.5 weeks, and then just suck them back down when you're ready to go again.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty
It's a
much.
good
Like,
problem to have. But and
yeah, if
also,
you're,
if you're not 100%, it affords you the luxury to be able to, sharpen up a little bit and then come in a bit better. But I think if you are ready, a lot of people can be like, oh, is it deleterious to the look? If you stay low for too long, it can be, but it's a good opportunity to potentially even accrue some of the tissue that you might have lost on the way down, bring your food back up, maybe just go above, training performance gets better, energy availability is higher, all of a sudden life is good again. And then, 8, 9 days out, dial things in again.
yeah, if you're in shape for show number one, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you probably, yeah, there'll be like a feeding or increasing of calories post show one, and then maybe a dipping back down into a peak week strategy for show number two. Yeah, and if you're not in shape from show one, then to show two, it's continue to diet, continue with the comp prep process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people think that it's trickier if you're doing back-to-back peak weeks, but it's so much easier. As a coach, it's easier, especially if you've already got your protocol in place, because it's just literally rinse and repeat. And as an athlete, it's so much better because you literally have 2 hard, maybe 3 hard training sessions after the show. You train that night and then a couple more sessions earlier in the week, and then everything's just relaxed. Food goes up, you chill out, you do less. Life's good.
Yeah. I think like that it's that motivation too that after show one the job's not done,
Mm-hmm.
and as you probably do with some of your athletes, they might need to train on show day after their show if they've put in a lot of food and a lot of sodium.
Yeah.
Maybe if they finish super late, then maybe it has to be first thing in the morning the next day. So sometimes you got to have that mentality. It's like you can celebrate after show one, but you have to go back to the grind straight after you're off stage. Yeah.
That's the best time it's virtually mandatory for all my athletes, because you essentially want to wash off everything that you have put into the system and get them back to baseline within ideally 36 hours. So if the show's on Sunday, come Tuesday morning, you should have a blank canvas again. And then obviously you can manage the look based on, what you think you need to do. But if you go out and you have grilled and then you have a few chocolates and
Yeah.
you celebrate and then you go out for breakfast the next day, you've essentially had 4 or 5 days of additional carbohydrate that you didn't need, and then potentially you look shittier coming into the second show.
Yeah. I think we actually had this discussion last potty. Someone asked about how they were hungry post show and trying to get back on track
Mm-hmm.
when they've got other shows coming up. So yeah, it's just about getting to switching it back on. Yeah, and getting straight back into it. Uh, okay. There was one about protein bars. I've spoken about protein bars in the past, and how we shouldn't eat them. Why is that? Why do we recommend not to have protein bars? So I think from what I remember, what we're speaking about is the sugar alcohols and how it can affect digestion, and then the inaccuracies in the tracking of them.
Yeah.
Because scanning a barcode will show you the 3 macros, and normally the carbohydrates are well understated because it's not including the sugar alcohols that are within the protein bar, and that's what can get you unstuck. And it's
Yeah.
pretty normal, like an easy way. Normally, the label shows the sugar alcohol separate to the carbohydrate, and you can easily see that if
It
you
doesn't
just
add up.
yeah, it doesn't add up. If you just count the 3 macros, protein, carbs, and fats, and you work out the total calories of those 3 macros, it never adds up to the calories in the bar. You're like,
Yeah.
why is it short 80 calories? Like, where's those 80 calories are coming from the sugar alcohols that you should be tracking? So that's kind of the biggest issue there.
Yeah. For me, it's the number one contributor to like acute digestive issues for anyone in my team that tries them. And just open the back, look at the ingredients list. Try and find me one that's got less than 25 ingredients. Like there's a couple of them, but they're just so many things. And I bet half the stuff on the label you've never even heard of before.
Yeah.
There's just so many better ways to get them. I get they're convenient, but they're not worth it, man. And they're not cheap either.
No, they're not. And really, they're not filling. Like it's a bit of a waste of calories.
But the new TMG protein bar that's coming up.
So yeah, that's our reasoning behind protein bars. I think in off season, if you have them every now and then, and that's what you want to do and whatever. But when we start to dial things in for prep, we want to optimize everything we possibly can. So,
but then equally, sometimes in off season, you're already eating so much that it makes digestion even worse.
Yeah. I've spoken to so many clients recently about how much different your digestion feels in comp prep when you are simplifying what you eat.
Of
and you're
course.
really eating to things that let's call them that are good for you, and taking out the processed food, and you're like, wow, this is actually what good digestion feels like. This is what it feels like to have a flat stomach. This is what it feels like to not feel sluggish and full. You know,
What does MT call it? You remember what MT always used to call it back in the day? We're just gonna bro it up.
we're gonna
We're gonna bro it up. Just
roll it
gonna
up. Yeah, it's good.
yeah, we're gonna bro it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, just bro it
yeah,
up. Just clean it up nice and easy. It's easy to digest. But you've been
yeah,
saying that for a long time, actually.
yeah. So while we're on that topic, someone asked, "What's the best low-cal sweet tooth snacks while in a deficient?" Go, MG. Go, you go.
Yeah, air and water, awesome.
Yeah.
No, I don't really. I'm not really like a big. I don't really. Man, do you remember me like 7, 8 years ago when I was competing, where I was like super creative and coming up with all these ideas of like, I was making the egg white based pizzas and I was doing the big oats with the cauliflower and no, I don't do any of that anymore. Now I'm just like, I'm happy just to eat whatever's on the plan and if I feel a bit hungry, then so be it. Like we spoke about last episode, to me, I translate that to progression. So I've kind of fallen away with like the low cal sweet stuff, but a couple of guys on my team in off season do like a protein mug cake, that type of stuff. I don't do any of that jelly shit.
Yeah.
For me, I
I
just
think we've got to be real careful. Like it's okay. Like I did it. I had a little sweetener in my coffee every morning,
for sure.
whatever that may be. Sometimes that sugar-free maple syrup stuff. But you just got to be really careful. I'm okay with people using it. Obviously, we spoke about peak week and taking those things out from a digestive perspective and artificial sweeteners. But I'm okay with people using it during prep. But you've got to be really mindful of your cravings, because if you're just making every meal super tasty, super sweet, you just crave more and more and more of it, and it can be really detrimental. So like
Absolutely, man.
sometimes just training yourself not to be such a sweet tooth and just retraining your taste buds into not having this overly tasty food all the time will help you from a hunger and a food focus and from a craving perspective. So be mindful. It's okay to have them in there, but just be careful and just really know yourself. Just really, really know yourself. What do you
And I
think,
think
Scotty?
just limit them.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Scotty?
Yeah, I'm probably not a good person to ask because I don't really eat any of that stuff, the same stuff all the time, and I don't really have a sweet tooth. But I think for me, a Coke Zero is just like a nice treat to have. It's a nice 1.2 calorie treat at the end of the day. Like you said, I think the more you have that sort of stuff, it's very like if you're chasing highly palatable food, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
You need to look at, especially when you're in a low energy availability state, you need to think about the micronutrient profile of the foods that you're eating. The last thing that you want when you are vulnerable when you're in a low energy availability state, like from an immunological perspective. So the last thing you want to be is deficient in any of your micronutrients. So for me, I'd rather put foods into my body that are going to keep me optimal and feeling as good as I can in a suboptimal environment that is prolonged energy deprivation.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that one. While we're on that topic, another one asked about seasoning and sauces during prep to make food more palatable. So I think the other week in the thumbnail, I held up the Frenchie's mustard. That's something that I used a fair bit, to be honest. Like it's probably, I think it's one of the lowest calorie sauces I could find, or condiments I could find. And you know that I like salty stuff, so it was really good, and it's not sweet at all, right? So it didn't make me crave more sweet things or more palatable things. So I used a lot of mustard during prep, and a little bit of the is it reduced sugar or reduced whatever it is, reduced calorie fountain barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
I used that too, and then obviously the sweet chili sauce that you guys were onto during preps and things like that. So I think all those things are fine. Just as we kind of mentioned, it doesn't, long as it doesn't snowball into like, cravings that you can't control, right? And just be mindful of any artificial sweeteners and things like that. Like the mustard there's nothing in that thing, right? It's just mustard, right? So yeah, just got to be really, really careful with that. Also be careful with the sodium content. Because some of those do contain sodium. So whatever you do, be mindful, try to keep it consistent. Don't change it all the time. If you're going to stick to something, try to be consistent with it. And that's the same with seasonings too. Be really mindful, because a lot of those seasonings have sodium in them. They have salt in them.
Mm-hmm.
Really careful of some kind of mixed herb seasoning that you do have. Some of them also can be higher calories than others, so be really careful of those too. And also too is, from a digestion perspective, a lot of those seasonings have garlic in them, garlic and onion, which is a really high FODMAP food. So that can also cause digestive issues. So just be really mindful of those kind of intricate details of that kind of stuff. But what about you boys? What did you kind of use during your prep for herbs, spices, seasonings, sauces, condiments, that kind of stuff?
You guys ready?
I use I'm using at the moment, it's the gluten-free taco seasoning, the old El Paso one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still tracked, but I think it has like per serve, when I'm doing a kilo of whatever the meat that I'm having, it's like about, I don't have a lot of it. It's like maybe 6 grams or 7 grams of carbohydrate. And then I have 25 grams or 25 mils of the Ayam sweet chili sauce
Mm-hmm.
on all of mine. And that has about 350 or 400 megs of sodium. And so I just add a little bit of extra salt to it so that I'm getting enough sodium in, especially around the larger carbohydrate meals. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The Ayam sweet chili sauce, if you're looking for a condiment, it's the go.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
How about UMG?
Pretty much the same, man. The only other thing I use is I use the reduced sugar barbecue one, which is I think the fountain one. It's about 2 grams.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose the most important thing is just make sure you're weighing everything as well. I still come across people who think they don't have to weigh their sauces,
Mm-hmm.
or don't have to weigh their cooking oil. It can really add up. But in off season, I mean, I'm using a ton of full sugar sauces at the moment to try and get my food in. I really love the light mayo. It's the no fat mayo. Yeah, it's like 6 or 7 grams of carb per serve.
Yep.
So I reckon I'll have 2 serves per meal. So it's like 14, 15 grams of carb. I wouldn't use it in prep because it's just, you need too much of it to really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stick with either the AM or the barbecue sauce. But again, everything's just weighed, and as long as you're covering yourself, you should be fine. But yeah, definitely Scotty got me onto the AM. That was a Scotty thing, and people buy it for me for presents. I swear, I get presents from people and it's got sauce in it. It's like fucking beautiful. What a great present. I'm going to use it for sure.
That's the best. We had another question about meal frequency. Smaller meals or 2 bigger meals? What do you do, Scotty? How do you split up your meal frequency?
As in for a whole day of eating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Two meals is not enough. Again, we spoke about the importance of getting a protein synthetic spike and obviously getting enough of them throughout the day. So having 2 boluses of protein, for me, that would be like having 115 grams of protein per meal.
Yeah.
That would be not the most enjoyable thing to be able to digest. Whereas you space it out, I have 4 meals and just a post shake, which doesn't really count as a meal, just because it allows me to have a little bit more food within those meals. So it's essentially 5 protein feedings, but 4 meals. And most people that I prep will be the same, unless their food, when you're in the improvement season, you obviously normally have to go to 5 or 6 because you just can't get the amount of food in 4 meals, otherwise you suffer.
Yeah.
But I think if you're in prep, I think 4 is good, just because if you're having 5, typically they're a smaller meal.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have 5 feedings, that's great, like maybe a bit of yogurt before bed, or if you have a post shake, that's good. But I think 4 meals is pretty optimal.
Or pumpkin soup before bed.
Yeah. Pumpkin soup, peaches and yogurt.
That's what I was doing, if anyone wanted to know. Yeah, I was having pumpkin soup before bed. It kept me full. It was the best.
That's why you're so happy.
What about you, MG? How many meals a day?
Yeah, four and a good snack.
Yeah,
I'm the same. Yeah, I'd never go below 4. No one that I have will have under 4 meals. Particularly like if you've got a reasonably sized male competitor who has to get, let's say 2.2, 2.3 grams of protein per kilo of body weight.
Mm-hmm.
As Scotty said, I wouldn't want to put that down in. I wouldn't even want to put that down in 3 sittings, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely not.
Because then you're doing what? You're doing 75 grams of protein 3 times. It's a big whack.
So yeah, it's a lot of food to digest for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We had a question. So while we're talking about food, we had a question about travel tips and tricks while prepping. So I know, Scotty, you're in prep, and you've also got a trip coming up.
Yeah,
So,
I gotta go to Queensland tomorrow.
so how are you going to manage that from a food perspective? Are you taking some with you already pre-packed? Have you investigated where the shopping centers are and kind of
Just Uber
planned out
Eats.
Uber Eats?
Yeah, I think there's a McDonald's nearby. Nah, uh, on the plane tomorrow, I'll bring a meal that I'll just eat in the lounge, and then when I get there, there'll be. I haven't even had a look. I'm sure I'm staying in Mooloolaba. I'm sure there'll be a supermarket. There's a Coles. I had a look that there's a gym near where I am, so I assume there'll be a Coles or a Safeway there. So I'll just go there and get what I normally get. I'll just bring up my own cereal. I'll bring up rice flakes, and I'll probably bring up a sweet chili just to be safe to make sure they don't stinge me on it. And I'll bring protein powder, and I'm sure I'll be able to get yogurt there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I'll probably bring a packet of my Riviana rice as well. It's a lower calorie basmati rice that I have.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. I think they've got chickens up there, so we had to get some chicken.
You'll be right.
Yeah, it's pretty
I know.
straightforward. I think it's if you're organized and you plan, it just means for me because my days are going to be longer there. I just need to be super organized. So I'll just
Yeah.
wake up an hour earlier, or I'll stay up an hour later the night before and just make sure that all my food's prepped. I'll buy some disposable containers and then run it exactly as I would down here.
Yeah. I know when I travelled during prep last year and I had to go to the ICN Nationals in Sydney, and I
Hmm.
stayed in a hotel that it wasn't a service department, it was just a hotel.
Yeah, that can be tricky.
Yeah. And it was only for 3 nights. And there was a supermarket, which was pretty funny. It was within walking distance. And when I went to the reception, I said, "Oh, there's a supermarket up the road." Uh, I'm like, "How long will it take to get there?" And they're like, "Oh, just a couple of minutes." I was like, "Oh, to walk?" They're like, "Oh, you're going to walk?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm going to walk." And it was like 8:30 at night, right? And then when I realized why she was querying it is because I was staying in an area called Mount Druitt, and there's actually a documentary about that area that shows that it is not the safest area to be in. So I think that's probably why she gave me that reaction when I was walking at 8:30 at night in Mount Druitt along dark streets to go get some groceries. So,
Yeah, right.
but what I actually did is I thought to myself, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to be on a plane during this time. I'm going to bring this amount of meals with me until I know I'm going to get there, settle in, and be able to go to a supermarket to get my food. And then because I only had just a fridge and a kettle, and they had a microwave there, but I packed all my main meals already cooked, right? And then when I got there, I just bought like oats, yogurt, frozen berries. I bought protein powder with me, rice cakes when I got there, and that was it. Nothing needs to be in the fridge except for my meals and my yogurt. The rest was all out.
Mhm.
And I just went down to the reception, heated up my meals when I needed them. The rest I just had cold because it was just yogurt and berries and oats and stuff like that, and protein powder, and just got it done. So if you schedule it and you plan it out and you know where you're going to be and when you're going to be and what's around, and you know how many meals you're going to have, and you'll be good to go. But I packed my own scales. I packed all the sups that I needed to take. I packed my
Yep.
the cooler bags and stuff like that. I put ice packs in them. It was all in my carry-on.
Packed your own spatula and fry pan.
Bachelor fry pan. No, there was no
I know.
plate there. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it can be done. It's just got to prepare for it. Just know where you got to be when you're going to be, and you'll be able to get it done. Okay. Next one. Do you guys have sponsored athletes? Do you guys have sponsored athletes?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about it, MG.
Yeah, so this year I sponsored two competitors, Elise and Chloe,
Mhm.
which is something that, we've wanted to do a sponsorship program for a little bit, but obviously we sat down and made the decision of like, who do we think represents what our brand is all about? And, there's quite a few similarities in both those athletes, and it's not really related to their success, although they have had some success. It's more about the way they carry themselves. Obviously, both are mums with young kids, both have two young kids, both work hard. And that was kind of more of the decision rather than the result. Someone that really displays the values that, optimum nutrition is about. And, we hope to continue to do that moving forward as well, which is basically just covers coaching, some face-to-face as well, and a little bit of a mentorship.
You don't only sponsor competitors. It can be any type of person that goes to your facility and goes to your gym, right?
For sure. So like the previous year, we sponsored an athlete who played football, quite a female athlete who played football at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
Was just one down from the AFLW. So that was the season before. So we don't just sponsor competitors, although this season we decided that we did want to just sponsor competitors. But who knows what the future holds, man. And again, if you look at that athlete that we sponsored that played football at a high level, she was also a mum, 2 kids, almost the same age as the other two.
That's awesome.
So there's a bit of a theme there.
Yeah.
Because if you look at our gym, and I'm talking about like the day in, day out of our gym of who comes in, who trains, it's a lot of that. So
yeah. I sponsor a couple of athletes too, but I treat it a little bit differently. I sponsor them in a way of, imagine someone has gone to war, given so much to their country, and they come back and they're done, but they still want to be looked after. And that's how I kind of treated it. It's like the people that I sponsor are people that have done really, really well in the sport, have given so much to the sport, but are maybe now just hanging their heels up for a period of time, maybe forever, or maybe just for a period of time. So I sponsor them and saying, well, I'm still here for you. The coaching is still here for you. You can use it as much or as little as you want. I haven't forgotten about you, and I'm here to help you out. So that's how I kind of treated it. And people don't even know who they are. They don't ever say it. They don't need to promote me. I don't care. I just do it as like, I'm going to look after you. You did so much for the sport and you were so successful. This is me looking after you as you transition to whatever you want to do next, and just go from there.
Yeah, well said, man. Same as us. We've not asked them to, like, you would have noticed none of the athletes that we sponsored have come out and done like massive posts of like, and they're not regularly posting. There's no commitment on there and that they need to do. It's just our way of giving back to the sport and giving back to people who we consider to be just super hardworking.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
then me and MT are just trying to get a Powerhouse sponsorship at the moment.
I want a Powerhouse t-shirt or singlet or hoodie or something.
Yeah, I'll go.
Look at him. He's
come and get one. Have you actually not got one?
He's like, give me some merch, man.
No, next time you're in, just take one. Take a hoodie. I'll bring you one for Sunday.
Yeah, awesome.
Double XL.
Give the man some merch.
The biggest.
Now, Scotty, will I have the pleasure of having Evie on Sunday?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring both of them. I think so. They'll both be there. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Well, hopefully, depending, she's feeling better. She's been cooked, man. So, still saying to you boys off air. So hopefully, she should be good by then.
So you're gonna
be able to attend. Huh?
You're gonna have the kids at the show?
Yeah, we don't have a choice because we don't have a babysitter. So Jen has to get there earlier because she does all the hair.
Yeah.
Because my wife's a very talented hairdresser, so she does the hair with CW. Chell does the tans and the makeup, and Jen does all the hair with her girls. And I think I need to be there for maybe 10. So I think Jenny has to get there for 9. So I'll have Harvey and Evie with me, so they'll be helping everyone pump up.
That's all. For sure. They've meal prepped, right, for the day.
Well, pretty much, man. I'll have their little. They eat YoPro little pouches, rice crackers, probably an apple or a banana.
They're gonna love it. There's gonna be plenty of kids' food there because everyone's gonna have lollies and rice cakes and peanut butter and.
Well, probably the peanut butter it would be risky to leave out because my kids eat it out of the jar. But lollies are not really phased like they. Whereas if you left a packet of rice cakes, they probably wouldn't touch that either unless it had peanut butter. But if there was like a plate of fruit or rice crackers, but that's parenting 101. I never leave the house without YoPro, banana, or some rice crackers so that if there is a tantrum or you need them to be quiet, you can just quickly push in some acute carbohydrate and buy yourself 10 minutes.
That's cute. Yeah. I actually have a client that's competing on Sunday. Her name's Svetlana. She took a photo of her daughter's already packed her bags for the show, little suitcase. And I was like, what's even in there? And she's like, coloring in pencil, her dolls, a couple of books. Like,
so cute, man. If anyone sees me backstage and I look like I'm playing hide and seek, I am playing hide and seek with Scott's daughter. Yeah. We have a bit of a competition going on, so
yeah. MG absolutely loves kids, so
she'll be loving it.
Yeah,
she's
it's gonna be the best.
she's the best.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I think that's it, boys. We got
And Scott, equally, if there's anyone backstage who wants to give Scotty a hand with babysitting on Saturday,
Yeah,
he's
well,
got-
probably. To be fair, they're pretty good. It's more they're more they'll probably just be inquisitive, but they're pretty well behaved. But they'll just be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "I'm just helping this man get jacked, pump up." Yep. No, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's first. You boys have already been to a show this year. This is my first one because I was away for the last one. So
yeah. We're gonna have to occupy a spot somewhere where we can all be together.
Can we get a TMG? Can we get a TMG pull-up banner so we can share? Our 3 teams can all be in the same place.
We can. Who's gonna get there first out of you guys? Probably Scotty.
probably me, yeah. But
Well,
generally,
I got
the because I haven't been to the venue. Is the pump up area is different to where all the tanning and makeup is? So it's not
Yeah,
like
there's a
Miss Valley.
massive basketball court, which is like
huge.
the whole backstage.
There'll be so much
they call it.
space here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's
Well,
a
I'll
similar
just
side stage. Yeah.
Well, I got classic physics, so I'll probably be there because I think one of my boys is on super early, so I reckon I might be there.
well
I'm
then
gonna
just
be there
we'll
when
just
it starts.
we'll occupy a large amount of space for
You do anyway, man. Just when you walk in the room.
oh man. And hopefully it's warm. Is it warm in there?
He doesn't take compliments
It'll be
very
okay.
well.
It'll be comfortable.
It is warm in there?
It'll be comfortable. Yeah, it'll be comfortable.
Okay, because I think it's only gonna be like 17 or 18.
Okay.
It was pretty good last time. Last time it was 35, wasn't it?
But it
And
was
it was
a hot
awesome
day,
inside. But it was
and it
awesome.
stayed cool in there.
Yeah, it was
so
awesome.
it's a cold day now. I'm not too sure if it's going to be
We'll see.
cold in there or not. I'm not too sure.
Mhm.
But as everyone knows from the potty, you should have your mattress with you and
Mm.
your blanket, and everyone should be lying down and be nice and warm. Even electric blanket, like I don't know if you boys have
Okay.
one, but I just
Maybe.
put one on my bed the other day.
Make sure you're wearing big, thick socks too. You don't want to be wearing thongs and barefoot. If your feet are cold, your body temp will be cold. Stay
That's a
warm.
hot tip.
There you go. That's the hot
A hot
tip.
tip.
T-shirt
Literally
number
hot
4.
tip,
Make
no
sure you're
pun
wearing
intended.
socks.
Yeah, people should be wearing nice, thick, warm socks. Competitors, that's what we're talking about. Because staying warm is really, really important. Yeah, from a blood flow perspective, being able to get a pump.
Yeah. Is there a coffee machine / coffee place there as
Yes,
well?
there's a coffee
There is.
in the foyer. Yeah,
Good. Just trying to cover all bases, making
yeah,
sure.
the most important stuff.
And microwave.
Um,
Do you know what? I'm going to heat my feet up before I go because the microwaves at the venues are always disgusting. Where people just, I'm real OCD about germs and
sure about
dirt. Like they
microwave.
just stick their container in there with no lid and shit splatters everywhere.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we spoke at one time about bringing our own microwave and having like a communal microwave at a show.
Yeah. Can you imagine just walking in, just
With a microwave on
under your arm?
Mattress under one, microwave under the other.
Oh, boys, I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm.
We'll all see you there. Again, anyone who wants for us to keep an eye out on them when they're on stage, let us know. But otherwise, yeah, we'll do a review next week of the lineups and what our thoughts and feelings are on how everything goes. But that's it.
For sure.
Wishing everyone the best of luck, not only
Good
for
luck to everyone.
but for all the shows that are on this weekend. There's a lot of shows going on. We're going to try to stay on top of it from seeing how everyone goes across all the states. I know I'll be scrolling through social media. So hopefully everyone goes well. All the best. If you ever need anything, please reach out to us. More than happy to help. And we'll chat to you all soon.
Legends. Good chat, boys.
Done. See you Sunday, boys.
Take
Hey,
care.
boys.
Have a safe trip, Scotty.
Thanks, bro. See you guys.